And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Guys, we're going to be talking about Gary Neville today in this live stream, as there has been a lot of backlash, and it has of course erupted and went right into his face. Of course, you've already seen the video. We're not going to go through the video itself again. It makes me angry about Gary Neville, but we're seeing a huge amount of backlash currently on social media. All the sort of media outlets are talking about it, and now we're actually seeing his own supporters of the club he owns stage a protest and say that it's a massive own goal. We're going to spend the next 20-30 minutes or so going through some of the reaction. I want to know your thoughts on this down there in the comment section below as well. But let's go through the development that we've seen yesterday, and that was with regard to Salford City. For those of you that don't know about Gary Neville, he does own a part of Salford City. And as you can see here, we've seen Salford FC fans protest Gary Neville after he blames middle-aged white men on the Manchester terror attack. Gary Neville is, of course, a part of the consortium that owns the football club. Remember, this guy works in the business of football, whether that be a pundit, obviously a retired player, but works as a pundit. His main punters, so to speak, on Sky Sports are middle-aged white men that are paying those sort of subscriptions. And we're actually seeing people trying to push for a boycott on Sky Sports due to Gary Neville, which would be very big because it's quite hard. We all love our football, and Sky Sports have the contract rights for a lot of the Premier League games, so it'd be very hard to boycott Sky Sports, but people are still trying to push regardless to it. Of course, his fans, you know, he owns, or at least partly owns, Salford City, a club that he's, I think, been running now for a few years, and as you can see, their supporters are not happy with his comments. Remember, he's literally begrudging the punters that pay his wages and operate his businesses. He really didn't think that one through. However, it doesn't stop there. We've got some videos actually of people putting Union Jacks outside of his Union Jack flags outside of his house, outside of his businesses. So we're going to be watching that sort of reaction and video footage as well. But let's get over to X and see some of the good stuff that we've seen online. But my goodness me, he's really fucked up, hasn't he? Gary Neville, what a absolute muppet. As always, guys, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, get involved in the live chat, and let's get into some reaction from this, of course. So here's one of the videos that I was talking about. This is outside of his house. Or his business, sorry. So as you can see, people are working overtime to get this one out there. And of course, you can see the fans at Salford FC game holding up an anti-Gary Neville banner, calling him a traitor. Again, this is what happens when you start demonizing individuals that pay your wages. But it doesn't stop there. And in fact, I have been on Instagram, and actually, to be fair, with this sort of post that we're about to see in a second, if you go onto his Instagram, he's posted a lot of stuff, but a lot of the comments are making up his posts on Instagram are with regard to what he said. This post, this is his last tweet. I mean, I don't really like to bring it up because it's with regard to Diogo Jota, who obviously sadly passed away. But if I just click on this post here, you're starting to see the comments now turn this. Say, keep his name out of your mouth, racist middle-aged man, white CUNT, fuck off, you useless idiot. You absolute weasel, blaming Manchester terror attacks on British. So this was his most recent post, but still people are, of course, going into him in that sort of comment section, and the same on his Instagram as well. Regardless, I mean, that post, of course, is unfortunate. That was his last post, and that was with regard to Diogo Jota. But still, you're seeing, of course, the backlash that he's currently getting on social media. But it doesn't stop there. Nigel Farage just came out as well and spoke about this as too.
Following those awful murders in Manchester, Gary Neville, much-capped England footballer, highly paid Sky Sports presenter, said this.
The division that's being created is absolutely disgusting. Mainly created by angry middle-aged white men who know exactly what they're doing. Funnily enough, on one of my development sites last week, there was a Union Jack flag put up, and I took it down instantly.
Hang on a second. He's blaming middle-aged white men, the people that actually pay for Sky Sports, pay his salary. He's blaming them for all the division, not some evil, crazed, mad Islamist who went out to kill innocent people. I tell you what, this Gary Neville is so detached from reality, so detached from the average football fan, it is not true. I'm amazed that Sky Sports keep him on. What do you think?
Exactly. I thought this was one of my favourite ones, was from Simon Jordan, actually. Have a watch this one.
I think it's astonishing, in the wake of an Islamist terror attack, that he decides to have a go at middle-aged white men. Maybe the angry middle-aged white men are the ones that worked on minimum wage inside his hotel. I don't know. I think he's a champagne socialist and a coward. I think it's a dreadful thing to have said.
How is he a coward?
Well, I think the real issue is about radical Islamist extremism, and he doesn't have the balls to call it out for what it is, rather than suggest that people that are challenging our country about what's happening, he's insulated from these things. He lives in a very rarefied world where his money and privilege has enabled him to live behind a gated environment, not have to worry about NHS appointments, not have to worry about people being attacked in the streets by immigrants that shouldn't be here in the first place. He doesn't have to worry about these things, and so he has the ability to be able to sit there and observe in such a way that insulates himself from it. And I think it's an appalling stance to have taken. He's entitled to his view. He's entitled to a view. We are quite happy to wave every other flag in this country, whether it's Palestinian flags, Ukraine flags, or any other flag that we feel that we're able to wave. But when you're talking about people in this country that have legitimate concerns and want to have a legitimate value set and push back against what they're having forced upon them, for Gary Neville to say what he's just said is the exact embodiment of what I said, which is a champagne socialist, which is insulated from the real world, and a coward, because the real issue is about some of the extremism that's going on in this country.
At this
Facts, and at least people are calling it out in the sort of in the mainstream media, you know, in terms of people on this, because sometimes I feel with the media, especially why Sky Sports won't do anything about it, it suits his narrative, you know, it suits their narrative, the mainstream media's narrative with regard to it. However, fair play to Simon Jordan on TalkSport and actually calling it out for what it is, because actually you don't get people that do call this sort of stuff out that are in the sort of mainstream media because they're scared of losing their sort of job. So fair play to Simon Jordan for calling him out. Even Joey Barton, of course, is got involved.
Really practice equality, because I will punch you straight in the face, exactly the same as I would a Chinese person or an English person,
or a white person,
or an
anyone.
Eskimo. If you turn up with bad energy and you want the smoke, I will happily have it with you, no problem. I have no considerations about your race, your gender, whether you're able-bodied or disabled. I will inflict maximum punishment on you for coming at me with that energy. But if you want to be my mate and you want to be sound, or you want to ask some questions, I will equally bespokely treat you with the same energy.
Yeah.
What I don't need is absolute bakes like Gary Neville, right? Whose dad's called Neville, so we can instantly establish his nan and granddad were a pair of cunts. Because if you call your kid Neville, you're a fucking cunt in my book. So if you don't like that, Gary, come and do something about it. Get on the phone to Cowley Sutherland. Get on the phone to Misfits. I will gladly spear elbow you like Alex Pereira did to Ankalaev, straight in the top of your little shit wig for the comments you've made.
And it doesn't stop there, by the way. Steven Gerrard. These posts have been coming up quite a lot, Steven Gerrard. Rangers, hopefully. Let's see what happens over the next couple of days. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of this as well with the hypocrisy with regard to the Qatari money. We're going to get some more videos with that. But this individual is the epitome of a hypocrite and a champagne socialist. Now, bearing in mind, this guy actually took the Qataris' money. So, as you can see here, Gary Neville got taken apart for the money he took from the Qatari World Cup. As I said, his principal bones and what he said was that he didn't condone the way Qatar obviously operated, building the stadiums and whatnot. But this was his explanation for taking the Qatari money. So again, he's been out there talking about it, that it's so bad, all this, that and the other, but still takes the Qataris' money to do a punditry job out there. Exactly, and he had no defense for it because the individual knows what he was trying to do. He literally did take the money because he only cares about money, but tries to, in a socialist way, it's like do as I say, not as I do. He literally tries to push an agenda that he wants socialist governments. He even had Keir Starmer on the overlap, by the way. Bearing in mind the most hated guy tried to push him in, obviously got him into power as well. Not supposed Gary Neville, but had him on there and started talking about politics and stuff like that. This guy is just mental. And actually, he went out to Davos as well. Let's have a look at what Jeremy Kyle said.
Whereby I think that talk has become one of the leading vehicles for common sense. We've been talking about it for years, long before I came here. We talk every day about things that seem to make perfect sense to us, but to the rest of the lefty world, or those on the left, they think that we're a nightmare. Gary Neville, let me give you Gary Neville, a man who eked out an incredibly successful football career at Manchester United, played 85 times for England, and has built a portfolio of properties in Manchester, has got into media, was a crap football manager, didn't last long at Valencia, but has made a fortune, cynically on the back of his mate David Beckham, but he's made a fortune, 70 million quid he's worth. Gary Neville, aka Gary Lineker Mark II, thought it would be a really good idea over the weekend on his Insta thing or whatever, I don't know, Twitter, twat or whatever, what, LinkedIn is it? Yeah, I don't know what that is. Anyway, this is what the idiot Gary Neville said. Pin back your lug holes and don't get too angry, go.
Driving home from Salford City last night, I was driving out to Salford City, going down a Littleton Road, seeing 60, probably 50 or 60 Union Jack flags is absolute.
And I know, I tell you every week, I'm going to come here and I'm going to be calm. We're being turned against each other, mainly by angry, middle-aged white men who deem it OK to put up flags. And he then went on to say that he owns several buildings in Manchester where he's been building for 15 or 20 years. And he saw one the other day and he took it down. So disrespectful does he think it is? I'd love to know your thoughts on this. I'm not going to sit here and say stick to football. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But entitled's the word I want to give you, right? Why am I surrounded by people like Neville who have made millions on the back of working class people, people they're supposed to represent, people they're supposed to respect? Does he actually believe that middle-aged white men raising flags is causing division in this country? I said to Ian, and I'll say to you guys now on this show, 3 hours after those poor Jewish people on Yom Kippur were murdered by that terrorist called Jihad, make up your own lines for God's sake, shouldn't have been in the country, but there we go. A protest march not 3 hours later, not a mile away, with people waving Palestinian flags and shouting obscenities. But Gary Neville wouldn't mention that, would he? No, but if you stood up and you went, I think it's disgraceful that these people are marching and inciting violence, people like Neville would go, oh, this is unfair. But it's all right to attack middle-aged white men. I'll tell you what, Gary Neville, right? Do two things. Take your fortune and give it to every immigrant and every group that you think isn't treated well in this country. Do that, but you won't, will you? Or go and live somewhere, you numpty, where there are immigrants on the streets and where your teenage daughters might not feel safe, rather than behind the gates of your massive mansion in Cheshire. I think it's an absolute outrage. I don't know what you think.
Facts. I mean, as I said, he speaks from an ivory tower. I spoke about it in depth on the podcast recently. And of course, you know, he doesn't understand what people are going through in this country because he's been away from it. Yes, he may have grew up as a working class lad in the 70s. He may have come from humble beginnings, but has been shielded away from it and almost comparing sort of middle-aged white men. Comparing the sort of likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, Ji-sung Park, Carlos Tevez and whoever he played for during his Manchester United career as a third world illegal migrant who just came into the country on a boat is so out of touch. It's so crazy. He's like, oh, I've played with sort of foreign players from Africa. Yes, the top of the spear, the top echelon of people that are contributing massively to the country. They have a talent, and that's how immigration should work. If you have a talent, you have something to offer a country, and you become the pillar of the country, though that sort of migration is welcomed within the United Kingdom. Of course it is. They pay massive amounts of tax as well due to their sort of football wages, but they're a pillar to the community. They're at the top echelon, the top 1% of the world. So to compare that to some guy that's come from freaking Afghanistan on a boat, that may have been a part of the Mujahideen or the Taliban is so out of touch, and it just makes him look like a buffoon. It genuinely does. But I'm interested to see, obviously it's the international break right now. I don't know what he does in terms of internationals. I think sometimes he might do some international work. He's got his fingers in a whole lot of pies, Gary Neville, but I'm interested to see the backlash. I've seen a lot of Manchester United fans actually come out and condemn him, but we're going to probably see a lot more of this at football games, because it is middle-aged white men that are the majority there, and he will have a lot of fire. He will get a lot of backlash when the club football resumes again over the next week or so after the international break. It'll be interesting to see. In fact, it'll be interesting to see the England fans when England play in their international sort of matches this week as well, to see how they're feeling towards him. But yeah, I mean, a shit ton of reaction, loads of reaction. I mean, that's outside of his hotel. And the funny thing is here with this hotel football, or whatever it's called, outside the Manchester United ground, is that this individual actually is probably looking to try and get himself a Serco contract for this hotel. Probably. That's why he's probably pushing it. He's trying to get himself more money. You know, guaranteed 5-year income for his hotel that he doesn't need to worry about through the taxpayer and sort of Serco contracts. And that's probably where he's trying to push this sort of narrative. But yeah, I mean, this is going to carry on. Salford fans tonight with a message of a woke owner, Gary Neville. Gary Neville, traitor scum, own goal, Nev. Facts. Now, this is an interesting thing as well, by the way. This is as this person said here, Gary Neville styles himself as a man of the people, a working class socialist lad done good. In reality, he's a desperate, egotistical fraud who whored himself to the WEF, selling an agenda that will enslave the very people he claims to represent. This is him in Davos.
Gary, how you doing? What brings you here today? What brings you to the World Economic Forum?
I'm just having a walk down the front, mate. Just having a meeting with Janie.
Oh, how you doing, Jana? Janie, how are you feeling about the new Trump administration for Britain? Do you think he's going to be good?
I've got no comment at all.
No comments? What about Elon Musk highlighting the grooming issue in your country? Do you think that's a good thing?
Yeah, Manchester United.
Oh, look at that! I've been. Was I not being useful before?
20 years now.
I love it. I'm copying it from brother. Let me ask you quickly. Do you think it was a good thing that Elon Musk is highlighting the grooming gang problem in your country?
I've got no comment, mate.
Really? Why not?
I've got no comment on Trump and Musk and all the rest of it.
So what brings you here, though?
What brings me here? I'm a partner in the company with Janie.
Oh, what's the company?
Kinsella?
Oh, okay.
There's nothing dodgy.
Nothing dodgy there?
No, there's nothing dodgy here, not for you, mate.
Are you feeling hopeful for the future now?
Of what?
The world. It's a new day, a new era, isn't it?
Is it?
Donald Trump became president yesterday.
Oh, sorry, I'm not across that really. I stick to...
You don't care about politics?
I do care about politics, yeah. But not really, to be fair, speaking about it in America. I've never spoken about American politics.
But doesn't it affect Britain?
You all right, you? You all right?
No? You're a pretty political person, though.
No, not really.
No? All right, brother. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, mate.
Good luck.
So yeah, I mean, that was him there. Again, doesn't want to talk about certain things, but happily talks about everything else. He's always trying to get his fingers into to UK politics and try and do other things. Let's see what Mr. Patrick Christie said.
So I've just left my house. Jewish community.
It was a Syrian-born jihadi called Jihad. His Muslim convert wife said he wanted to join ISIS. Neville's going to do it. He's finally going to call out radical Islamist terrorism. Go on, Gary.
Going down a Littleton Road, seeing 60, probably 50 or 60 Union Jack flags.
Yes, brilliant. Over patriotism. People just loving their country. Go on, Gary.
And on the way back, I went down the parallel road, which is Bury New Road, which has got the Jewish community right at its heart, and they're out on the streets, defiant, not hiding or in fear.
Yes, and that is really brave of them because, Gary, especially in the last 2 years, they've faced relentless anti-Semitism from a combination of lunatic Islamists and mad far-left activists. But here we go. Gary is getting to the bit now where he calls out those nutty Islamists. Maybe he'll even make a point that many of the thousands of illegal immigrants we have crossing the channel come from countries that hate Jews. Come on, Gary, come on.
The division that's being created is absolutely disgusting. Mainly created by angry, middle-aged white men who know exactly what they're doing.
What? Oh, hang on. Angry, middle-aged white men? I can't help but wonder how many angry, middle-aged white men pay Gary Neville's wages by buying Sky Sports subscriptions. But anyway, do you think he means angry, middle-aged white men like Jihad al-Shami? Good British name there. Or angry, middle-aged white men like Salman Abedi, the son of Libyan asylum seekers who blew himself up inside Manchester Arena. Maybe this is what he means. Yeah, there we go. Now, that is an angry, middle-aged... oh, hang on a second, let's have a look at this. Oh, it was a Muslim man, actually, who just violently attacked someone with a knife for burning a Quran outside the Turkish embassy. Guess what? He was spared jail. Anyway, carry on, Gary.
Funnily enough, on one of my development sites last week, there was a Union Jack flag put up, and I took it down instantly. And some people might be watching this and thinking, well, Gary, you're not very patriotic. I played for my country 85 times. I love my country. I love Manchester and I love England. But I've been building in this city for 15, 20 years, and there's no one put a Union Jack flag up in the last 15 to 20 years, so why do you need to put one up now?
Great question. Let me tell you why, Gary. Because over the last 15 to 20 years, we have seen record levels of mass immigration. We've seen record levels of illegal immigration. We've seen a huge rise in Islamist extremism. People are sick of their hard-earned tax money being spent on asylum hotels and benefits for illegal migrants, and actually, in many cases, legal migrants as well. Not that that bothers Gary, of course, because he's absolutely wadded. But we've had the Pakistani rape gang scandal as well, which Gary doesn't want to talk about.
Do you think it was a good thing that Elon Musk is highlighting the grooming gang problem in your country?
I've got no comment, mate.
Really? Why not?
I've got no comment on Trump and Musk and all the rest of it.
And now, Gary, we have a Prime Minister and a government who many ordinary, hard-working people feel really don't like Britain and haven't got the minerals to sort it out. But, you see, Gary can't admit that, can he? Why not? Well, he did everything within his power to get Sir Keir Starmer elected, didn't he?
How are you?
Yeah, good. How are you? Are we good?
Thanks for doing this, then.
No, no
really
problem
good.
at all.
Oh, no problem at all. He's done events with Sir Keir Starmer at Labour Party conference. He even backed him over the whole freebie scandal stuff. Look, Gary's very big on morals. He's got a strong sense of right and wrong. Do you remember when he went to the Islamist Hamas terror group housing country of Qatar for the World Cup, inadvertently helping to sports wash that diabolical country? Yeah. Anyway, according to Gary, it was Brexit that made this country dangerous.
Brexit has had a devastating impact on this country, and the messaging is getting dangerous, extremely dangerous. All these idiots that are out there spreading hate speech in any form and abuse in any form, we must stop promoting them. We must stop.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, we have seen a lot of very concerning rhetoric recently, haven't we? Do you think Gary means stuff like this?
But the Deen of Islam has legislated jihad, that wherever anyone attempts to carry out genocide, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded the Muslims do not permit them to carry out genocide. Take up arms and defend yourself, and do preemptive strikes wherever those preemptive strikes, which is offensive jihad, is needed.
Oh, good grief. Look, I don't know about you, but I think Gary Neville might have got this one wrong.
Yeah, good. That was quite good, to be fair. I enjoyed that. I absolutely did enjoy that. But we've been seeing a lot of it, guys, and it is just going to keep on coming out. But yeah, I seen this the other day here. Gary Neville, today, Gary Neville will face no disciplinary action by Sky Sports. It's been confirmed that blaming an Islamic attack on angry white men and criticising displays of our country's flag is acceptable by the broadcaster. Well, it makes no surprise to me because we know what Sky Sports are all like. I mean, the box ticking that they're up to on a day-to-day basis and a week-to-week basis, it doesn't surprise me whatsoever. However, he was to blame Islamic extremism for doing something like that on as a Sky Sports pundit, then may have lost his job. So it's all about whatever agenda that they're saying. But yeah, of course he was never going to get fired for that. But what the British people will do is likely push. And fans at stadiums like this, we're going to see sort of banners unfold. But we'll see it. We'll see more of this as the international break ends. Let's see what Katie Hopkins said, shall we?
However, Gary Neville, you do not escape my attention. You obviously decided there was a cunt-sized hole in the market, what with the departure of Gary Lineker. So you waded on in talking about the synagogue and the attack on Jews in Manchester. Now, did you blame the alleged rapey jihadi guy who conducted the attack? Did you blame the black and white tea towel pro-Pally brigade that have incited this kind of behaviour? No. You decided to blame British white men. And to top it off, just while you were about it, old Timu Gandhi, you decided to rip down a British flag from one of your many building sites. Here's my theory, Gary. I think you've been gobbling away on Qatari cock so hard it's blown your eardrums and you can't hear the shit that you're coming out with. So Timu Gandhi, if I could get a hold of one of your flip-flops, I would batter you around the face with it. In other news, Conor McGregor drops out of the presidential race in Ireland. He couldn't even make it onto the ticket, thus showing what a ridiculous nonsense of a process it is, entirely undemocratic.
Yeah, facts. Oh, mate, I hate this bitch so much. I mean, she just goes, whatever's in the sort of side guy, she just goes against it. She just seeing some absolutely diabolical, twisted takes on Gary Neville video. Are you actually listening to what he's saying? He isn't blaming the flag shaggers for the dreadful sin. Well, he was. He actually was. I mean, there's nothing there. Okay, who's worse? There's a good question there. Who's worse? Do let me know in the live chat right now. Who's worse, Gary Lineker or Gary Neville? I mean, it's a hard one, isn't it? And in Gary Neville's famous words, it's like picking two blokes to shag your wife, as he famously once said. But who's worse, Gary Lineker or Gary Neville? Let me know in the live chat. And whilst you're at it, guys, if you haven't already subscribed, we're trying to push to 300,000 subscribers. So please do hit the subscribe button and hit the like button as well. But yeah, as you can see, this is just ongoing. So much criticism towards him, and a lot of people aren't obviously happy, but we've seen a lot of reaction on social media. But of course, if you just go over to his Instagram now, right? Go over to his Instagram right now and check his comment section. People are obliterating him right now.
An absolute stalwart of a player. Like, wore his heart on his sleeve, give every ounce he had in his body.
He was all right. Nah, I'm joking. Gary was a good player. I'm not going to be that bitter. He was a good player. He played at Manchester United for a very long time. But yeah, I think you get the point, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go over to the live chat, ladies and gentlemen, see what people are saying with regard to this. If you haven't already hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, make sure you do. We're trying to push to that 300k. It would be really, really helpful if you could help us. In fact, I did see 2 super chats, but I think they've disappeared. They were quite a while ago. Shit. Let me try and see if I can get them up for you. But yeah, we did see some super chats. I'll try and get to them quickly. Shit, I can't find them. But thank you for those. Thank you for those 2 super chats, by the way. I can't see them on my live chat. They were right at the start, but thank you so much for them. I really, really do appreciate it. And I'm sure it was a bit of hatred towards Gary Neville. Rusty John says, it's not hard to watch any Premier League matches. I watch every match and I don't even have Sky Sports. Well, we can't tell you where to look on this way, but there is ways in this world. but we can't obviously tell you where to look. James the Great says, as a Liverpool fan, I've never liked Neville. I mean, look, to be fair, I always had this different persona of Gary Neville back in the day. I actually genuinely thought he was kind of, how do I say? I thought he was more, I suppose when I was young, when I was watching him as he was playing football, I always thought that he was like a hard man, I suppose, a bit of a hard man. But as we've started to see him come out in the world, he's, a bit of a bellend, isn't he? He really is. Darren Max says he can't come around Old Trafford ever again. Well, that's the interesting thing I can't wait to see. I literally can't wait to see club football return, because this, as you know, majority of the people that go to Manchester United games, which he's a club legend there, majority of the people that go to Manchester United games, majority of people that go to all of the games that he sort of broadcasts and commentates on Sky Sports are middle-aged white men. And then, of course, there's Salford, where he owns the football club. I mean, he's not going to be able to escape this. He really isn't. People are going to be really fucked off. Yes, David. Yes, it's like nature's way of sometimes telling you. As I said, when there's sort of colourful animals, I always look at with the far lefties, the left wing lunatics. They all have blue hair and stuff like that, and it's like the Amazon jungle. The brighter the animal usually means they're poisonous. So it's nature telling you, keep away, keep away. And that's how I sort of look at the sort of left wing lunatics on the pro-Palestine marches that have blue hair, pink hair, and look like thingy. It's nature's way of saying, stay away. They're dangerous. And the same could be said about Gary Neville. What does Roy Keane think of it all? I mean, look, the thing is with the footballers, right? A lot of them won't say anything, and a lot of the pundits won't say anything, actually, because they will lose opportunities, like job opportunities, because football is very, very woke. However, I do look at certain things, and Ali McCoist, my hero, absolutely love Ali McCoist. Great pundit, and what a great footballer. Glasgow Rangers legend, absolute legend, love him. But actually, you can see on Instagram what people like, and Ali McCoist, he doesn't speak out publicly about things, but Ali McCoist is always liking the reels of like the Unite the Kingdom march. He's liking like people talking about illegal immigration. He's liking political commentators' posts. So you can see that actually where their sort of values align, and Ali McCoist likes that. I've seen John Terry talk about it, share a couple of reels as well, like certain things. Like certain posts, and he came out and sort of talked about immigration. He didn't come out and talked about it, but he shared a reel of someone talking about immigration onto his profile. So there is footballers there that don't have this sort of woke agenda, but obviously a lot of them would probably be scared if they're in sort of punditry roles to speak out of something, which is cowardly. I don't like it, but it's something that they should do and use their platform to do so, is highlight the issues and not make people a problem. Yeah, Jamie, we covered that a bit earlier on today in the live stream. Yeah, we also covered that at the start of the live stream as well. Biting the hand that feeds you. Exactly. You should never bite the hands that feed you. Joey Barton, yeah, of course, he speaks out very, very publicly, but you've seen him now. He's been made out to be he will never get a managerial job ever again after coming out and speaking out and giving his sort of opinion on things. He'll never get a sort of punditry job anyway, due to that, because he's very vocal on certain things and virtue signalling and stuff like that. So again, that's why ex-footballers don't come out and speak about things. Well, because they won't, because the Sky Sports woke agenda, the mainstream media's woke agenda, won't allow people to have outlandish views to come onto their program. Yes, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. We've got a £5 donation. Thank you so much for your super chat. I'm a match-going United fan, and a lot of them are anti-England and woke, so they'll probably back Neville, unfortunately. Yeah, I can't really talk for Manchester United's fan base. I don't really understand what they are. To be fair, with Manchester United, and again, Man U fans, don't give me any stick. but a lot of them aren't from Manchester. A lot of them come up and travel. Sometimes Old Trafford's seen as a bit of a day out. You know, the sort of Asian guys and whatnot coming from sort of China, and it's like a tourist attraction, right? Manchester United. And that's no fault of their own. I'm sure there's a lot of real Manchester United fans and people that love and adore Manchester United, but they are a bit of a tourist club these days, almost like a day out, almost like a, oh, we're going to Manchester for the week to go see Man United play, then we're going to go see Man City play next week. You know, these sort of supporters. So they probably won't even know what's going on. But it takes the real individuals, the real fans, the middle-aged white man, so to speak, to actually raise these awarenesses. And I do think we will see some stuff in the at the stadium with banners about Gary Neville, because there's just a sheer volume of people there, and they probably will. Mr. Fixlet says, real Manx support City. Neil says, Man U fans are dumb. Well, let's see what Man United do. If Keane and Wrighty stick by Neville, then they'll lose a lot of respect. Well, no, you see, I'm actually an avid watcher. Well, I was an avid watcher of his show. I did like his show, Gary Neville's podcast. I did like it. I like Roy Keane. I like Cara. I like a few of these guys that were on this sort of show. I mean, but there was one occasion, one episode where I think somebody was talking about Elon Musk, and Gary Neville shut down the conversation. I don't want to talk about Elon Musk on this profile, on this page. I don't want to talk about Elon Musk and all these people. I think Roy Keane might have brought it up, actually. I'm not too sure. But again, I think some of them will have that sort of understanding. It'll be interesting to see what Cara's standpoint is on it. Although, I suppose he's from Liverpool. Liverpool on social media like to say that they're sort of the club that invites everybody in, and you know, sort of like a Celtic football club with Palestinian flags as such. But then again, I've actually a lot of Celtic fans subscribe to me here on this channel, and actually it doesn't, the loud voices, so to speak, at their stadium doesn't speak for the whole fan base. A lot of them, of course, Glaswegians and live in a working class city, can understand the problems that are going on despite the ultras flying these sort of woke banners around the place. Most of the people live on the ground within these cities, whether it be Liverpool or Glasgow, and understand what's happening to their country in real time. Wolfie donates $5. Thank you, Wolfie. Rise Up England. Do not get digital ID. Agenda 2030. We replaced by migrants. We in the end times mark of the beast. Exactly. This is what the El Salvador president said recently about Keir Starmer, the mark of the beast. And I couldn't agree more with regard to the digital ID and what's going to be coming. But unfortunately, we've got a government that are tyrannical, and they're just going to push things like that. MS says, I'd stop watching anything football when they were taking the knee. Yeah. That was that went on for years. I'm sure it's still going on in the women's game, is it not? Taking the knee. Do they still do that shit in the women's game right now? I'm sure they still do it, actually. But the funny thing is with the football, I mean, I watch Scottish football because of my team, obviously. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate in the comments there. It's a bad league. But there's not really, I mean, we don't have, in the Scottish League, even though it's on Sky Sports, there's not really that much sort of woke gesturing on there. You know, it's not box ticking as such. You just kind of have Chris Boyd, Chris Sutton, and then they talk about certain things in football. So with the Premier League, I don't really see it. I know the Premier League is massive box ticking. You know, they've got to have a certain skin demographic, they've got to have a certain gender, and probably by 2030 we'll have the first sort of transsexual coming into Sky Sports to present as well. Yeah, well, he makes a good point. I've seen that video there where he doesn't sing the national anthem, but he tried to say about him being patriotic as that he played for England. How was that patriotic for him? Still getting paid a hefty wage, and that's probably playing at the top of the top level of football. Obviously, going to a World Cup, it's all sort of self-driven. The fact he can't say that he played for England, so he's the most patriotic guy ever. It's just bullshit. It really, really is. But ladies and gentlemen, that is enough for me in this live chat. I am going to go, but do let me know your thoughts on Gary Neville and the abuse that he's gotten